Welcome, everyone. I'm Marla Miller from marlamiller.com, presenting another episode of Lit Salon Prose Talk Prose. For those of you just tuning in, this is an educational program, but it really is primarily one to entertain, and we speak to writers on the road to publication, and I try to get writers who have been on the road to publication to talk about their process with all of us. And I'm really delighted today to have a writer who I've known for 3 years now. I met him at the Santa Barbara Writers Conference, and his name is Tom Huth, and he has a memoir coming out in April, on April 20th, 2016, called 40 Years Stoned, A Journalist's Romance. It's being published by a small press in Manhattan. Tom, welcome to Lit Salon.
Thank you, Marla.
So obviously you and I know the whole story. Our listeners don't. You have a memoir that did not start out to be a memoir that had a cannabis theme infused throughout it. So can you talk just a little bit about the first piece that you read in my workshop that absolutely hooked me?
Well, that was the opening to a memoir I'd written about caring for a wife with Parkinson's disease for 20 years, a memoir that actually had some humor in it, because without that, you wouldn't be able to get anybody to read about that subject. Mm-hmm. And the book didn't sell, and so I thought, I wonder how else I might want to reframe this, and it occurred to me that through the lens of being a lifelong marijuana smoker, and how that has helped me and helped my wife Holly through this long struggle with Parkinson's, I thought, well, it's worth a try. So that first paragraph of a Parkinson's book became a first paragraph of a marijuana book, but it's all the same. And I'm a storyteller. I just like to get a story out there somehow. Indeed,
you do. And when we met and we decided to work together, I think it was our first meeting, probably before you left the conference. I asked you how you wanted to get this book published. And you said that you wanted to go down the traditional route, but that you weren't adverse to indie publication. And so you opted to start out in traditional publishing, and that's exactly where you've ended up. But talk to us a little bit about the long process of pitching query letters.
Well, I read a pretty good pitch, and I actually used your help to refine this pitch. And so I finally got a really dynamite, I thought, one-page pitch and sent it to 120. You said try 50 agents. And I said, well, what the hell? I'll go 120 agents. I sent it out, and I sat back to await the yeses, and 80 of the 120 didn't even bother to reply to my email.
Yeah.
And 30 said no, and 10 accepted, said, send me the manuscript. And my favorite reply of those came back very quickly. Hi, Tom. Boy, we loved it. Unique story, great writing, wonderful celebrity bits. We loved the Brokaw story, great adventures. However, we're going to have to take a pass. What? So I didn't end up going that route. Well, I didn't go the indie route, but I found a publisher on my own through a couple of contacts, and this is Heliotrope Books in New York, and we've got a deal.
Absolutely, you have a deal, and for those writers out there who are hoping to get published traditionally, I just want to emphasize that there's more than 5 houses. So, Heliotrope Books, it's a small press. However, it is traditional press as far as I'm concerned. Naomi is just this amazing publisher who has a wonderful eye. And she's been very, very helpful. She and her small staff have been very helpful to you, haven't they? And we're frozen again. Oh, that's too bad, because this was a good interview. All right, so I think what we're going to do, Tom, is there you are, you're back again.
Have a nice weekend, my dear.
All right, you know what? But let's just keep going for a minute, because here's what I want to talk about. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're on the road to publication, folks, whether you have a big house or whether you have a small house or whether you're doing indie, the onus, the hard, heavy lifting of getting your book out there, unless you are a celebrity, is on your shoulders. And Tom has been working incredibly hard to get this book out there. And if you notice, Tom is not exactly a youngin'. So Tom, myself, lots of us have had to figure out this 21st century publishing. And he's done it extraordinarily well, actually by using traditional methods that he employed when he was a young journalist. Tom, if you're still there, would you agree with that? But he's not still here. So I'm going to say, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So did you hear what I had to say about how you've really employed terrific strategies to get this book out there?
Yeah, the one thing was I made about 9 or 10 excerpts or adaptations from the book, anywhere from 400 to 1,000 words, and sent them to different outlets, so some straight outlets, but also a lot of the marijuana websites. And I've gotten about 5 of those published so far, and that would help.
Tremendously. And it would help if Google Plus actually worked. So I will tell people listening that this is like the 5th time that we've tried to do this today. So authors on the road to publication, the hard work of this is not just sitting in interviews or even writing pieces. The hard work is just figuring out the connectivity between you and the person that you're wanting to promote your book to. It's a lot of work. It's labor intensive. You need a team. And if Tom were here, he would tell you that he has put a team. Hello, so you're here. So I'm talking about the team that you have put in place, because this is hard work, selling your book.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Exactly. And so, you know, authors have to have patience. They have to have a stick-to-itness that, I don't know, maybe we didn't have to have back in the day. Tom, when you sold your other books, how much promotion did you do?
I did very little, but unfortunately the publisher, and I was a large publisher, Delacourt and Dell and Delta, they didn't do much either. Right. And so they never went anywhere, but nobody did any work. But certainly I didn't think I had to. This time I knew I had to do the work. Okay,
so back in the day, you didn't think you had to do it. You just thought, oh my God, I got a big house to publish me. I'm set, right?
Right, but I'm not sure they spent a penny on getting the word out there. I don't think so.
Probably they didn't. And so that would be called the mid-list author. That kind of just gets taken in by big houses, and then they're left to survive or not survive, sell or not sell on their own. So the reality today isn't all that different, is it, Tom?
The what?
The reality of selling your book really isn't all that different.
No, it's just another form of writing, and I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying making excerpts and pitches and wooing people who might want to write a blurb. And
so talk about that a little. Since we've got connectivity, I ain't hanging up. Talk about the blurbs that you have gotten. It's like, I'm so impressed.
Well, you know, I sat down and made a list of who I wanted, and I thought, how about celebrity stoners? So, of course, I tried Bill Maher and Willie Nelson and Cheech and Chong and Woody Harrelson. And among those, and I think you suggested this, Marla, Melissa Etheridge, the singer, has been coming out very strong about her marijuana use, both for medical purposes, for cancer recovery, and for using it on stage. And so I tried to woo her through her publicist, and successfully. She wrote us a wonderful front cover blurb that says, "You will be changed by this book."
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's sweet.
And then through another contact, ran into Billy Hayes, the author of Midnight Express, if you all remember that book. And he was happy to give me a blurb, and Steve D'Angelo in the movement, Valerie Carell in the movement. And so I've gotten some, and another marijuana author, Catherine Hiller. So that was fun. And then we got the book's cover from, it's a photograph by Annie Leibovitz.
Good.
Which she took in 1994 of my wife Holly and me, and it's significant because it was just before Holly was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and it shows us at the height of our earthly ambitions.
And so let me see if I can't just share the screen here.
Sure.
Because here's your Amazon page.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we've got, yeah. Okay, so there's the cover, and that cover was done by Annie Leibovitz.
Right.
Leibovitz. It's a hard name for me to pronounce. And so tell us how you decided after what? You hadn't seen her in what, 10 years, 15 years?
Oh, 20 years since that time, and several days together.
Okay. And so what happened?
I wrote to her office and suggested that I wondered if we could have that picture for the cover. And they referred me to an archive agency, and the archive agency asked $5,000 for this picture, even though I was the subject, but whatever. But we went back to Annie's office and appealed to her, and sure enough, she gave us that image for free. And,
isn't that lovely?
And it's really, I think, distinguishes this book, and not too many people can have that kind of a star power. Melissa Etheridge and Annie Leibovitz. In fact, maybe if the two of them would go out and do the book tour, I could just sit back and collect the proceeds, right?
Well, you never know, Tom. You never know how things might. Oh, good. Okay. I wanted to get that off the screen.
Yeah.
You never know, because we're just on the beginning of this journey that I think you're going to be on for a long time with this book. I just have a feeling about it because of the dovetailing of this finely written memoir with the absolute burgeoning of the cannabis legalization movement. And I think this is going to be the first of many such stories written by writers, as opposed to, say, growers or people in the industry writing how-to books, which are cool too. But so talk just a little bit, as long as we've got connectivity, talk just a little bit about what you're going to be doing on publication day, which is April 20th, 2016. You've already lined that up, and I think it's brilliant.
Yes, I have a home, and most of my friends are in a little village in Colorado outside of Boulder called Gold Hill, a historic gold mining town. And Boulder happens to have a wonderful independent bookstore called the Boulder Bookstore, which hosts wonderful reading events. And so on 4/20, on Wednesday, 4/20, I'm going to have a book launch party there with hopefully all my friends, unless as a joke they stand me up and leave me standing there in an empty room.
I have a feeling they won't.
Yeah, and then I'll be going to New York in early May to do a couple of events, and we'll see where it goes from there. But it's fun to have a book to get out there and promote. Absolutely,
and I want to tell you that just this morning, Steve D'Angelo, and for people, again, I don't expect listeners to know these iconic names that you're mentioning, Steve D'Angelo and Valerie Carell, but they truly are iconic in the movement, in the cannabis movement. Both of them have gone to jail, et cetera, and but they hung in there. And just this morning when I went on Twitter, I had tweeted something yesterday about 40 Years Stoned, a journalist romance, and Steve D'Angelo retweeted it, and above it he said, "This is a great story," which is pretty cool. And I think I lost Tom again. Did I lose you? Yes, so I'm just going to keep talking, and then we're going to hang up this interview because I don't want to push my luck. But Tom, are you there? Are you coming back in before I say goodbye to our audience? He might not be coming back in. But so the point that I wanted to make about that, folks, is that once you get your book out there, and if you've got something, first of all, if you've got a great story, and he's got a great story, written really well. If you can get some people attracted to that story, and Tom, just let me know if you're there. But if you can get people attracted to that story, then it starts to build. The momentum starts to build. And we're in that process right now of watching one person pick it up and then send it to the next, et cetera, et cetera. We've got many readers who hopefully will have their reviews posted by 4/20. And for those of you who want to know any more about what Tom is doing, you can go to 40yearstone.com. That's his website. You can find him on Facebook. He doesn't have an author page there, and I don't think he will. I think he's just going to stay with Tom Huth, Huth. So if you want to friend him on Facebook, go ahead. He's also on Twitter, The Vagabond Guy, at The Vagabond Guy. And we're going to be interviewing again because I just really believe that this story, 40 Years Stoned, a journalist romance, has got legs. So we're going to be hearing more about this, and we want to keep our listeners up to date on this author's progress on his road to publication. And once he's there, all of the wonderful things that we hope will happen. Until the next time that we meet for Lit Salon Prose Talk Prose, be well, and writers, keep writing, and remember, writing is rewriting, mostly.